All right, welcome. I call this meeting of the LSU Faculty Senate to order. Roll is being taken by means of sign-in. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum? Thank you very much. We have a number of alternates for today. We have Brett Eldred for Sarah Matthews, Colin Weirtz for Janine Gradesky, Haley Cobb for Paul Soto, Meredith Feldman for John Bardis, Basal Abueta for Rebecca Christofferson, Jennifer Blanchard for Jan Chen, and Paul Miller for Giulio Mariotti. Is there anyone who I've missed who's serving as an alternate for a colleague today? All right. Thank you for stepping up and serving today, helping us make our quorum. There are no official guests for today, and there are no public comments. Okay, excellent. So we shall proceed directly with the President's reports. Dear Senators, I hope you and your families and your students weathered the recent storm well and life has now returned to normal. If there are any lingering issues with which we're out of order. If we can go back one moment, we have to consider the minutes from our meeting on August 27, 2024. The minutes were distributed via email in advance of today's meeting. Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes? Okay, hearing no comments or corrections, the minutes are adopted. Thank you. Now we shall resume with the President's report. Apologies for getting ahead of myself. If there are any lingering issues with which the Executive Committee may be of assistance, please let us know. Below, I'm going to discuss some brief summaries of notable items since our last meeting in August. Remote Learning Plan. Hurricane Francine provided our first opportunity to utilize the new Remote Learning Plan, RLP, as LSU moved to remote instruction on Wednesday and then closed completely on Thursday. I received feedback from a number of faculty members about their experiences, and it is clear that while there are many positive aspects to this approach, there are some areas for improvement. I've shared the information I received with the Office of Academic Affairs and encourage you to complete the survey they have created to better understand the faculty's perspective. I will also continue to keep OAA informed of any additional information that I receive moving forward. But also a few elements of the broadcast email announcing the survey to which I would like to draw your attention. The first is that the motivation for the creation of the remote learning option. If LSU cancels more than 1.5 days of class, we are obligated to make up that time by rescheduling the missed classes, which could possibly include the cancellation of scheduled break and class sessions held on Saturdays. Moving to remote instruction, including asynchronous when appropriate, allows us to meet our required instructional time and avoid having to make these changes. The second point is that faculty have many different options which qualify for remote instruction and are encouraged to choose the modality which works best for their course. In other words, do not feel obligated to move an in-person class to a synchronous Zoom session at your normally scheduled class period if there are other, better options available. Finally, while hurricanes are an extreme version of the events which require the utilization of the RLP, there are many more mundane situations in which it may be appropriate, such as a recent HVAC outage in portions of Coates Hall. Given that each situation will be different, I encourage you to use your discretion about what will work best in those circumstances, and I'm sure that as the policy is refined and we gain more experience with how to operate within its guidelines, it will help us avoid having to make significant changes to the academic calendar. Student accountability and educational technology. The Joint Administrative and Faculty Committee formed in the spring semester to address questions on the use of Grammarly in student coursework has concluded its work and issued its report, including recommended best practices. We are working to line up a presentation to the Senate on the report at one of our October meetings, and we'll also look to distribute the report to the faculty more widely in combination with that presentation. Given that Grammarly is only one example of the evolution of educational technology which affects instruction, the Executive Committee invited representatives from student advocacy and accountability to meet with us to better understand how faculty can work with SAA on these issues. It was a very productive meeting, and it was clear that the most important elements in maintaining the integrity of instruction is setting clear expectations around the use of these tools, communicating them to students, and then providing as much documentation as possible when there is a suspected case of academic misconduct. When SAA evaluates an alleged infraction, one of the critical elements is the guidance provided to students through the syllabus and other course materials. If the guidance is missing or unclear, it is much more difficult to find a student responsible. Being as specific and transparent in our expectations will therefore help SAA help us in ensuring that the work a student submits meets our expectations for academic integrity. LSU A&M faculty report at the Board of Supervisors meeting. As Faculty Senate President, I serve as our campus representative to the Council of Faculty Advisors, and I was pleased to be able to deliver the faculty report from all the campuses within the system to the Board of Supervisors at their recent meeting on September 6th. As part of my report, I was able to share the following items of note regarding the achievements of our faculty. Collectively, LSU A&M, the Agricultural Center, and Pennington Biomedical Research Center increased our research and development expenditures from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 23 by 34%, with $384 million in expenditures for the last fiscal year. When the expenditures from the health science centers in New Orleans and Shreveport are added, the equivalent increase in this time period is 37.5%, with total expenditures of $488 million in the fiscal year. Our research productivity metrics are similarly impressive. During the period from 2019 through 2023, LSU A&M and Agricultural Center faculty published 8,276 articles, published 375 book chapters, and were cited 141,395 times. Finally, our faculty published 435 books in the preceding 10 years. The report was very well received by the board, who appeared impressed by the great work being done by you, our faculty. I would also like to extend my thanks to Vice President and Chief Data Officer Dr. Kina Arbuthnot, Vice President for Research and Economic Development, Dr. Robert Twilley, and Elsa Hahn in the Office of Research and Economic Development for their assistance in the preparation of the faculty report. Finally, upcoming meetings. The FSEC is working to line up presentations on topics of interest to the faculty for our upcoming meetings and anticipate presentations on the aforementioned Grammarly guidance and a separate session by representatives from enrollment management in October. If you have any recommendations about other groups or topics which may be of interest to the faculty at large, please let us know. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to take any questions you may have. All right. Well, thank you very much. We shall now proceed to the special orders portion of the agenda. Our bylaws require that at our September-October meeting, whichever comes first as the second meeting of the semester, that we hold an election for the third and remaining member-at-large position on the Faculty Senate Executive Committee from newly elected senators. It is at this point in time that we will hold that election. Unfortunately, we were not yet able to hold our new senator orientation for two reasons. The first is that as of early yesterday, approximately half of the new senator seats were still not filled by their units. And secondly, we are waiting for additional guidance from accounting about whether we can host the session in the format in which we have done in the past, which is host a lunch at the club at Union Square. Given the new changes with special meals, we're trying to figure out whether this will qualify or not. So we haven't been able to brief the newly elected senators through the orientation. However, we did distribute an email to them last week and then sent it out again early this week. If you receive that email, you should be eligible to stand for election. And I will let you know, for those of you that did not receive this email, part of what was communicated to them is the extraordinary work that this committee does. I want to make sure that everyone understands exactly what they would be signing up for if they throw their hat in the ring. And this committee meets approximately 2 hours a week from August through May, except for the weeks in which we have these meetings, in which case we are here for that afternoon. And then we meet approximately every other week for an hour and a half to 2 hours during the summer. Additionally, almost all of the Faculty Senate Executive Committee members are encouraged and in fact do serve on other committees of the Faculty Senate to better understand how the Senate operates and make sure that our committees are in touch with the Executive Committee. So it is a fairly labor-intensive process. It's very enjoyable work. We enjoy the work we do, and I have a terrific time working with these folks up here. But you know, again, in the interest of full disclosure, I didn't want anyone misunderstanding exactly what they would be signing up for. At this point in time, we have one self-identified nominee, Dr. Carmela Mazza. I would like to open the floor to any other eligible candidates who would like to put themselves forward at this time if they would like to stand for election for that member-at-large position on the Executive Committee. All right, well, here are no other nominations. Now, as we did in the spring, even though she is currently running unopposed, we would like to offer Dr. Mazza the opportunity to offer a brief statement in support of her candidacy, just with the idea that if you want to run for the Executive Committee and be elected, it's great to let your colleagues know what you intend to do in the position. So at this point in time, I would like to invite Dr. Mazza to please come forward and offer her statement.
Thank you, Dan. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a tenured professor in the Department of World Languages, Literatures, and Cultures in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. 2 years ago, I succeeded Mark Wagner, my colleague, in the Faculty Senate following his resignation. I completed his term last May and has now begun my 3-year tenure, having been re-elected by my department. Currently, I serve on the Internationalization Committee, a position I accepted after directing the LSU in Spain program in 2023. And I am I am the director of LSU in Spain 2025. My primary teaching responsibilities are within the School of Humanities and Social Science. Additionally, I have had the opportunity to co-teach at the Honors College and to develop activities for my students in both Humanities and Social Science and the Honors College, supported by special collections and LSU libraries. I am currently the graduate advisor for the MA in Hispanic Studies. My engagement in many professional associations and committees has taught me the critical role that digital communications and AI tools play in advancing our collaborative efforts. When used correctly, these technologies support a balance of listening and leadership, fostering an appreciation for diverse viewpoints, which is essential for making informed and collective decisions. As a member at large of the Faculty Senate Executive Committee, I am committed to effectively advocating for our community, ensuring that we are all advancing in the digital trend and for benefit of all of us, our LSU community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Matza. One final opportunity for additional nominations from the floor. All right, hearing no additional nominations, Dr. Matza is elected as the third member at large of the Faculty Senate Executive Committee. Congratulations. All right, today is election day at the Faculty Senate, and so we will now turn our attention to the standing committee elections. There are 3 committees of the Faculty Senate which the bylaws stipulate have to have its membership elected by the Senate rather than appointed by the Faculty Senate Executive Committee. These 3 committees are the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee, the Faculty Adjudication Committee, and the Faculty Appeals Board. So we will go through these elections sequentially and hopefully get some nominations, because we are, for each committee, approximately 1 or 2 people short. So there is ample opportunity for you to put yourself forward, or a colleague if you know of someone who may be interested. For the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee, may I have a motion to hold the election for the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee? I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, there is a second. The motion is to hold the election for the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee. Hearing no objections, we will proceed with the election. Thank you. So the charges of the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee are to assure an effective and advisory role for the faculty for the budget and planning processes of the university, to encourage the use of faculty expertise, and to keep the Senate informed, to make recommendations regarding long-range implications for the university's mission, consider questions and issues which may be referred to it by the Faculty Senate or the FSCC, and to establish study groups and conduct forums and workshops in order to inform the general faculty or to collect their views when instructed to do so by the Senate on its own initiative or at the direction of the SEC, along with some other elements here that the committee is asked to address. For the membership of the Budget and Planning Committee, the voting members shall be 8 faculty. In the committee operating guidelines from which this is taken, it says that 6 are to be elected and 2 appointed. The bylaws stipulate that this is an elected committee, so we are deferring to the bylaws, and we want to elect all the members so we don't run afoul of that provision. Each member will serve 3-year terms, except that the terms will be staggered in a manner decided by the Executive Committee. Present members should be present or former members of the FSCC, present or former officers of a policy committee, or persons with other appropriate experience. They may not serve concurrently in any administrative positions as chairs or higher. The current members of this committee are Dana Holly, who is the interim chair from the School of Business, James Canfield from HSE, Fabio Del Piero from VetMed, Wei-Ling Song from Business, Robert Cook from Science, and Michael Martinez from CHSC. We consequently have two openings. We have identified in advance one individual who has agreed to stand for election, and that is Adam Clay from HSS. At this point in time, we would open the floor to additional nominations of yourself or a colleague for election to the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee. Is there anyone who wishes to make a nomination for this committee? All right, I will take that as a signal. Now the nomination period has concluded. Dr. Adam Clay has been elected to the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee. Congratulations, Dr. Clay, and thank you. And we do have one position still remaining. If someone should express an interest to you or you yourself become interested moving forward, please let us know. We will hold a subsequent election for that remaining position at a later meeting. Our next committee to be elected is the Faculty Adjudication Committee. May I have a motion to hold the elections for the Faculty Adjudication Committee? Okay, Dr. Shahada moves. Is there a second? Thank you. The motion is to hold the election for the Faculty Adjudication Committee. Unless there are any objections, thank you. The motion passes and we shall hold the election. The Faculty Adjudication Committee has a rather robust list of charges. I will not read all of them here, but essentially the Adjudication Committee is called upon when a faculty member believes that there's been a violation of university policy, which has negatively impacted their status at the university or their ability to perform their role. This is different than the Faculty Appeals Board that we will hear from later. The Faculty Appeals Board has a different set of responsibilities largely tied up in the tenure and review process and PS 104. So adjudication really looks at violations of policy, not substances of, or not decisions of substance in evaluations for promotion and tenure and other types of those procedures. The membership of this committee is 9 tenured faculty members, 3 members elected each year by the Senate to serve a 3-year term. Nominations may be from the floor of the Senate. The 3 persons who receive the largest number of votes shall be elected. The 4th person shall be an alternate. Chairs or heads of departments and higher administration personnel are ineligible to serve on this committee, and committee members may only be elected and serve for 2 consecutive 3-year terms. Currently, the composition of this committee is as follows. Carrie Dooley, the chair, is from engineering. Joseph Lagoria is from business. Dominique Homburger is from science. Jeannie Donaldson is from HSS. And Mayank Tyagi is from engineering. That leaves us 4 open positions on this committee. We have 3 self-nominations that were put forward in advance of the committee. So we have Dr. Joy Blanchard from CHSC, Dr. Jean Chamchot from VetMed, and Julia Irwin from HSS, full professor from that unit. That leaves us 1 open position for nominations from the floor. And if we have more nominations than that, of course, we can also hold an election that way. Are there any nominations for individuals from the floor? Is there a point of clarification, Dr. Shahada? Okay, can I? Yeah, so you rotated off because 2 years ago when we restocked, you and Dr. Howe were elected for a 2-year term. We suspended the rules just so that we could get it up and we didn't have a glut of candidates who are rotating off now. However, you can be elected to 2 consecutive 3-year terms. So if you are disappointed that you are no longer on this committee, there is an ample opportunity for you to put your name forward and fill out our roster of candidates. Well, fantastic. We have an additional nomination, Dr. Edward Shahada from HSS. Thank you, Dr. Shahada. Are there any additional nominations? Well, terrific. The nomination period has closed, and thank you to these individuals and Dr. Shahada for putting themselves forward, and we appreciate their service on the committee. Congratulations. And the final committee to be elected today is our Faculty Appeals Board. May I have a motion to hold the Faculty Appeals Board election? Thank you. And may I have a second? Thank you. A second in the back. The motion is to hold the Faculty Appeals Board election. Unless there are any objections, the motion carries. We shall proceed with the election. We are now electing the Faculty Appeals Board. The Faculty Appeals Board differs from the Faculty Adjudication Committee in that the Appeals Board is to deliberate and make recommendations to the Executive Vice President and Provost when PS 104 dismissal for cause for faculty is initiated against a faculty member, to deliberate and make recommendations to the Executive Vice President and Provost when a faculty member appeals a non-reappointment decision, or when there is a unit decision to not reconsider or not consider a faculty member request for non-mandatory promotion review, to deliberate and make recommendations to the next highest administrator when a faculty member appeals an administrative decision. The membership consists of 12 to 15 faculty members representing a balance among disciplines, college, and schools, with 1/3 of the members elected each year by the Senate to serve a 3-year term. Nominations may be made from the floor of the Senate. The person who receives the largest number of votes shall be elected. Chairs of departments and higher administration personnel are ineligible to serve on this committee. Committee members may only be elected and serve for 2 consecutive 3-year terms. An additional point of information, the executive committee in one of our meetings a few meetings ago reviewed the membership for this committee. And given the nature of the work that this committee does, we highly recommend that committee members be tenured. Given that they're dealing with some sensitive issues, that they're dealing with questions of tenure and promotion. We haven't yet updated the guidelines to reflect this, but we do think that that would be an advisable course of action when it comes to the membership of the Appeals Board. The current members of the Appeals Board are Chad Sidfried, who is the chair from CHSE, Christine Korkos from the Law Center, Carlos Swanson from Business, Jim Stoner from Humanities and Social Science, Sabrina Taylor from Agriculture, Grace Berry from the Law Center, Gabriella Lindsay from Libraries, and James Sauls from Science. That leaves us 4 to 7 openings. We currently have nominations from 2 full professors, Blake Howe from Music and Dramatic Arts and Dr. Meredith Feldman from HSS. Would anyone like to self-nominate for any of the remaining positions on the Faculty Appeals Board? Thank you. All right. And sorry, just for those who don't. Thank you, Rosemary. Yeah. Rosemary Petershill, Humanities and Social Sciences. All right. And anyone else? Okay, so our nominees as currently stand, Blake Howe from Music and Dramatic Arts, Meredith Feldman from HSS, Rosemary Petershill also from HSS. One final opportunity for additional nominations. All right, well, our thanks to the 3 candidates who are now elected to the committee. Thank you for putting yourselves forward and congratulations. So we do still have remaining openings now on the Faculty Appeals Board and the Budget and Planning Advisory Committee. Once again, if you know of any colleagues who you would like to nominate or recommend that we contact to see if they would be willing to serve on this committee, please do let us know. Is there any remaining new business or any additional new business that anyone would like to introduce for today's meeting? All right, may I have a motion to adjourn? Motion, second. All those in favor, please say aye. All right, we stand adjourned until October 7th. I promise not all the meetings are going to be this short, but we are trying to get some presentations, some other business. If you know of anything that we should know about, please be sure to bring it to us and we will be happy to bring it back to the Senate. But enjoy your time the rest of the afternoon.
How you doing? Hey.
1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.